This
Welcome, welcome.
conference will now be recorded.
Awesome, awesome. So typically after the person introduces the speaker, you're supposed to give them a round of applause. So maybe you can throw it in there. Welcome, I am Dr. Dave G. I'm assuming you read my bio. If you didn't read my bio, I am very excited to be with you today to share 5 messages for all of you who are future graduates. If you're a future graduate, please raise your hand if you are a future graduate from Warren and or from another institution. If you plan to graduate from college, please raise your hand. Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. I didn't see your hand there. Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to go through 5 very quick messages. Hold on. So everybody has a story to tell, right? Everybody has a story, pages of a story that kind of explain and define who you are. Beginning of all my presentations, instead of kind of sharing my bio and the highlights and everything that I've done, I really want to share some of the blank pages because I think it's very important to understand that regardless of who you are, if you lock in and focus, you're going to keep all your personal development going. So I'll share a few pages of my story, hoping that you may be able to relate. And if you can relate to any of the pages of my story, you will not alone. So my family moved over 12 times before I graduated from high school. We were actually homeless at one time, looking for shelter and staying with family members going from house to house. If you've ever been in any unstable situation, if you're in an unstable situation now, you are not alone. Random violence. I lost my father when I was 13 years old. Lost a lot of family members to COVID. I have vivid memories of growing up in the streets of Northern New Jersey, being chased down South Orange Avenue by a grown man with a machete as I run for my life in fear. Abject poverty and violence throughout my community. If you are suffering from the loss of loved one or loved ones, you are not alone. So-called teachers of the schools that I attended who didn't motivate me on any level. One teacher actually told me I'd be dead before I turned 25. If you've ever been in the presence of so-called educators, you are not alone. Alcohol and drugs have destroyed my family on so many levels. I have drug dealers in my family, I have drug users in my family, alcoholics in my family, people who have died from alcoholism. If your life has been impacted by alcohol or any other drug in any form or fashion, you are not alone. I stand on the shoulder of Haitian immigrants who came to this country for the American dream and running water. Like my father passed away, my mother can barely speak English to this day, but knew that education was the passport for me to achieve all of my personal and professional dreams. So if you plan to improve your family legacy, whatever that legacy is, you are not alone. I remember growing up in school where it was, if you were smart, you were called corny, and a lot of people didn't want to be unique. Everybody kind of followed down the same path. I remember having very memories of trying to dumb it down for the people around me and not wanting to actually be myself. If you ever had to dumb it down for the people around you, felt ostracized because of your uniqueness, or didn't feel like you belong on any level, you were not alone. So I have 5 messages, as I mentioned earlier, and the 5th message is we make no excuses. So I shared a few pages of my story, and everybody's story is different, right? You have your past, your present, and your future, and we are the authors of that story. So regardless of what the past pages of your story include, you can make intentional decisions now to determine whether you're going to be on team success or team failure. Team success or team failure. So when I say make no excuses, that doesn't mean that you won't be scared, that you won't have depressive thoughts, that you won't make an unhealthy decision, that you may not deal with anxiety or fear. If you've dealt with any of these things, I'm in my late 40s now, I still to this day, as a professional motivational speaker who travels the world, I still deal with all of these things on some level. So you are not alone. But ultimately, you are the author of your journey, and you have to make intentional decisions from this point on to make sure you can live the life that's in store for you. So I won't be in front of you long, so if you're taking count, message number 5, no excuse. Message number 4 is my favorite, avoiding weapons of mass distraction. I repeat, avoiding weapons of mass distraction. So we have distinguished scholars in this room and on the Zoom. Well, who are you online and how much time are you spending online? What is today's date? November 16th, right? How many hours have you spent working towards your personal and professional change since November 1st? And how many hours have you spent in your calendar, right? How many hours have you spent going down that social media hole, that YouTube hole, that TikTok hole, the Netflix hole, the Instagram hole? They've created these devices to capture your attention into essentially, with addictive properties, control you and control your time. How many times have you opened up your phone, opened up your laptop, opened up that app, said you were going to check it real quick, maybe 10 minutes max, and it's 4 hours later and you haven't accomplished one damn thing? So once you know this, and once you're aware of your relationship with these devices and these apps and how much they're taking up your time, you spend X amount of time on your goals and dreams, but hours upon hours on these social media is literally making it the first thing you do and the last thing you do every day. How can you unplug to make sure that you can focus on the reality and the decisions you need to make to achieve your dream? Because ultimately, are you going to live your dreams or watch somebody else live theirs? Message number 4, avoiding weapons of mass distraction. Message number 3, and I don't know if we can get the folks in the chat to participate in this, Lisa, this would be very interesting, but it's choices, right? Life is simple. I'm 46, 47, I lose count, you'll lose count one day too, trust me. You're gonna make decisions and you're gonna have to live with those decisions, right? That sounds pretty simple, right? You make a choice, you live with the decision. Come to Warren, earn your degree, transfer out, pursue your goals and dreams, very intentional decision. I'm gonna put some choices on the screen. I'm gonna give you all an opportunity to pick one or the other, or both or neither, and then we'll get back on track with more high-level choices. Let's start here. Folks in the zone, you can participate in the chat as well. Are you team iPhone, team Droid, team both, or team neither? Let's do a quick poll in the room. You can do it in the chat as well. Team iPhone, team Apple, raise your hand. Wow, that's the first time. Maybe everybody on Zoom with that. Team Droid, raise your hand. Team both. Team neither. I'm sure your phone has like a 4-day charger. I'm sure. Let's go here. Do you know the difference between a want and a need? Right? You may want the iPhone 13, you just need a communication device. You may want that $1,000 hoodie, you just need a garment. You may want that mansion, or you need a roof over your head. Let's talk about this platform too. But it's very important to understand, because instant gratification could lead to a lot of bad choices, right? The college degree is a process. You understand, you trust the process for the end goal. Lose sight of what you want to achieve. Let's go here. Are you a night person or a morning person? Let me define it this way. This is my definition. Roll out of bed in the morning, wide-eyed, 5 o'clock, no coffee, no tea, no stimulants, you're ready to go. The night person is the person that I can reach at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., and it's almost like I'm reaching them at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. That's how I'm defining it for the purposes of this presentation. Folks in the Zoom as well, please let me know if you consider yourself a morning person. Raise your hand. We only have, this is a much different, we only have one morning person, okay. What about a night person? Raise your hand if you consider yourself a night person. All right? Okay, raise your hand if you're both. If you believe you're both, I think I'm both, kind of, sort of. All right, the two in the back. Raise your hand if you're neither. All right, we'll talk after the presentation. How many folks, Rob, for show of hands, that struggle with the inner voice sometimes? Am I the only one? Am I alone? Okay, more than half the room. So how can you reprogram that script? Right, we're going to do some things intentional later on to really help you understand that if you can identify the problem, you can turn it into a solvable puzzle. If you don't want to address the problem, you just live with it for the rest of your life, right? Because I'm still at the age of 46 and 47, still trying to figure out how to rewire myself to not have those negative thoughts. But there's a process that I'm gonna walk you through later. Oh, here. Are you willing to unlearn behaviors that you've been told your entire life are true? We've all been lied to, each and every one of us. We're raised in very static environments where everyone thinks alike, acts alike, and then when we come to college, we have to challenge some of those thoughts, and some of us are so convinced that those beliefs and ideals are correct, they want to hold on to them. But are you willing to pause and really reflect on the thing that you've been taught, society's norms, definitions, and values, and can just ultimately say, no, this is not right, or this is not appropriate? Like true growth, not classroom growth, not for a grade, truly thinking outside the box and understanding and seeing the world the way it needs to be seen and changing the world. This world is flawed, right? How can we go about understanding that we need to unlearn our behaviors and make the necessary change? This is my favorite. Are you in it as it relates to your career plans, what you're doing now, what you plan to do long term? Are you in it for the passion or the paycheck? Passion or the paycheck? And what I do is I want to be very intentional with this so that there's no gray area. We'll go here. Would you prefer to make 100K in a career that you hate or 49K in a career that you love? 49K in a career that you love and more than twice as much in a career that you hate. Before you answer, there's no right or wrong answer, but let me say this. Very important to understand that this is your life, this is your journey, right? Your life, your journey. Think about the people you've seen around you. Are they happy? Are they doing the things they want to do? If you think about your lifestyle, what you want to do with your life, your major, applying it to multiple streams of revenue, there's no right or wrong answer, but before show of hands, how many of you prefer, okay, Tegan said 49K. Okay, now let's do a poll here. Raise your hand if it's 49K. There's no right or wrong answer. This is your journey. Raise your hand if it's 100K for the career that you love. Okay, we have one brave soul. Can we give this young lady a round of applause, please, just for being the brave soul? All right, is anyone willing to, you can put it in the chat, you can say it verbally in the room. Is anyone willing to share why they feel the way they feel? No right or wrong answer, folks. This is what you have to figure out for your journey. Yes, can you please say your name, speak loudly, and share why you feel the way you feel?
Always had a desire to be comfortable, and I've done volunteer work, so a hero, okay. And I've still taken over having a sales job that I can't stand because at some point, from a day that I want to, I really have to get up in the day. I just have to make it fun. I kind of feel positive energy in my life and just figure it out along the way. And
young lady next to you is making more money. I mean, I'm just putting that out there. She's making 100K, you're making 49K. Is that a problem? No problem? Anyone else want to share? This is your journey. These are the things. Okay. The young lady who's got 100K wants to share. Can you please share your name and speak loud?
Oh, I'm Sarah, and I feel 150K only because when I think about it, I go to school, like, I'm like studying for my major, and like there's points when like I really don't want to do this, like I still do it. But the only difference now is I'm not getting paid.
Okay.
But later, I'll get paid for it. And for me personally, like I don't have like wants and dreams. Like I want to, like you said, like you only need a shelter, but I want a man.
Okay, all right, okay. No problem. I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the honesty. What is your career path? What do you want to be when you grow up? A pharmacist? And you said a social worker?
No, I'm not.
Nursing. Okay, all right. You won't just be making 49K. You won't be making just 49K as a nurse. But thank you both for sharing. What does SpongeBob do, Ray? Got it.
He
Krabby
works
Patty, right?
Yeah, he works at the Krusty Krab, and he loves his job so much that like sometimes he goes without pay. But like obviously I don't want to go without pay in my job, but I want to be able to do what I love and to help people and not feel like my mental health is going down the drain because I'm in a career that I really don't enjoy.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Ray. I forgot that you can actually speak to the laptop, so I got a little caught off guard at first. But my son actually watches SpongeBob every day when he gets home from school, so he's going to be pretty excited to hear that he was part of the presentation.
It's
But that's really, I'm sorry?
it's the best show.
Anyone else want to share? Thank you, Ray, for sharing. Anyone else in the chat want to share? Unmute yourselves and share. 49K. Lisa said that most of you picked 49K. Does anyone want to explain why? So these are the decisions you're going to have to make as it relates to your journey. All right, folks on Zoom and in the room, pick one. Okay. Identical, don't strain your eyes. But this is the reality. 1 out of 2 college graduates will not graduate. And then less than half of the folks who graduate are not going to be working in their field. Meaning you are pursuing sociology or education and you end up working retail. So the conversation about identifying your passion and your purpose and then actively pursuing it is a very important conversation. It's a timely conversation for you all. So I have examples of folks who are currently living their dreams and their passions that I want to share with you to inspire you to think about your dreams and aspirations. This gentleman right here is a financial literacy coach and an entrepreneur. Went to high school with this young lady. She's a nurse in Chicago. So if you ever do need to talk to a nurse, we can put you in contact with a few nurses. My wife's a nurse as well. Her sister Nefertiti Nguvu is also a filmmaker. You may have seen some of her films on HBO. This gentleman was the former mayor of Roselle. He's now believed the freeholder for the town. All of these young ladies are immigrants who became medical doctors. This young man started a school in Patterson, not too far from the projects where he grew up in. This young lady may have helped you with your traffic on the way in this morning. All of these, I work at Montclair State. All of these folks are from Montclair State. This young lady is now Dr. Ali. She's from Helden. Dr. Gonzalez from Harlem. For the Giants fans in the room or on the Zoom, John Paul Gonzalez was credited when the Giants beat the New England Patriots when they were undefeated. He delivered this speech called "All In," like you have to be all in if you're gonna go to battle or pursue your dreams. And the Giants players, including Eli Manning and Victor Cruz and all of those players from then, credit this speech as motivating the team to go on that Super Bowl run. This young man lost both of his parents to drugs, witnessed his brother get murdered and had to stand trial. This is him at Carnegie Hall. We took a busload of scholars to hear him speak. This young lady is an actress you may have seen on Entourage and Sopranos. This young lady started a international financial literacy movement on the cover of Money magazine, has a New York Times bestseller, and millions of followers. These are other examples of folks who are doing amazing things, living their dreams and aspirations. This young man, Dalvin, while a lot of folks are wasting time on social media, he Googled internships on the Facebook platform as well as the Google platform. And these images you see on the screen are him at the actual headquarters of Facebook and Google. That's him. America Needs You is an internship program that he was a part of. And then that's him with a fuzzy koala bear when he studied abroad in Australia. He now works in Silicon Valley, 6-digit salary. So before and after, this is the concept that I want to share with you as it relates to your choices. It's who you are and who you plan to become. So this young man wanted to become a federal agent. Folks laughed at him, didn't think it was possible. He's an immigrant. How can you become a federal agent? He now works in DC, Homeland, firearms instructor, and has played basketball with the Obamas in the White House and protected the Clintons in Europe, living his dream. And the whole idea is we want you all to live yours. This is an example of the before and the after. Me with my mentor and my mentee, and we vowed to take a professional photo shoot when we all became doctors. The before and the after, and the young man with the dreads is now the superintendent of Teaneck Public Schools. So we joked about the phones earlier, but when you think about how charged you are as it relates to your pursuit of nursing or whatever it is, are you fully charged? Are you partially charged? Or are you looking for an outlet? Very important that you are actively pursuing your dreams and aspirations and can recharge when you need to recharge. Message number 2, folks, and I'm almost done. Team success, team failure. Team success or team failure. So I had the privilege to go to high school with the 3 doctors of North. You may be familiar with their book. They wrote a book called The Pact, where they supported each other in high school, formed the Pact. It was basically positive peer pressure through high school and college. They went on to become doctors. They've been all over town. They have a foundation. I'm now on the board of that foundation. This is the mural that's painted of them in Newark, New Jersey on 15th Avenue and 18th Street, not too far from where I grew up. They motivated me to become a doctor. This is the book, The Pact, that they wrote, Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Hunt, and Dr. Davis. The image you see on the side is me with the Tar Heel t-shirt on, smiling in the background. They form a pact. We all become doctors, well documented. We don't form a pact. What do you think happens to me and my friend? The gentleman with the red hat was deported on drug charges, and the gentleman with the paisley shirt was murdered shortly after high school. So when we talk about team success or team failure, this is extreme cases of my journey and my story. Once again, think about your story, your journey, the people you're spending the most time with, and I don't care whether it's your mother, your brother, your lover. Do you have a circle of positive energy and success, people who are supporting you? Or are you that negative energy in the circle? And how can you rewire your approach, change your circle as necessary so that you have the positive resources, the positive energy to move forward in a very intentional way? Nipsey also said it best. If your circle of friends don't inspire you, they are not a circle, they are a cage. I repeat, if your circle of friends don't inspire you, they are not a circle, they are a cage. The last message, folks, and I'm almost done, is the I am and the I will. Who you are today and who you plan to become tomorrow. Who you are today and who you plan to become tomorrow. You may be familiar with these icons, some of them, if not all of them. You could have never told folks from my generation, Lisa, I don't know if you can attest to this. You could have never told folks from my generation, maybe our generation, that you get somebody's private car, Uber, to bring somebody's private house or vacation. Couldn't even wrap my mind around that concept. Right? But the reality is, somebody had the foresight to think differently, and as I said earlier, unlearn and change the world, change the paradigm, make it shift. Right? 50 years ago, these things didn't exist. But somebody had the foresight to make these things happen. So when you think about yourself and where you are today, how can you be very intentional in terms of the way you grow, change, and develop? 10 years ago, you would have never thought we'd be sitting in a theater at the local county college with masks on, and I'm presenting to you. I would have never thought this. I'm assuming you didn't envision yourself being here, right? In this particular circumstance. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? What are you going to create? What reality are you going to create for yourself, your family, your loved ones? How can you improve your family legacy? How can you stop making excuses? How can you avoid weapons of mass distraction? How can you make intentional choices? How can you create or connect with team success to make sure you can achieve all of your goals and aspirations? It's the I am and the I will principle that will get you to exactly where you need to go. I do these presentations. My goal is to deliver 1,000 of them. Thank you, Warren County, for allowing me to do 2 this year. The idea is this: who you are and who you plan to become. So Dr. Flowers at Baltimore, UMD, Baltimore. I am the first African American to earn a PhD in biomechanics at UDEL. I will not be the last. 5,000 retweets, 37,000 likes, using social media as a tool and not a toy. Elevation over entertainment. being very intentional with how you move. So, this is what I need you all to do. If you can, your phones, your flip phones, whatever you have, can you please take out your phones now if you have one, or something wet if you have. All of you folks on Zoom, I need you to put this in the chat so we can see it. Basically, I need you to write your I am and your I will. Who you are and who you plan to become. I am Latina. I am scared. I am hungry. I am motivated. I am overwhelmed. I am excited. I will become a nurse. I will become a pharmacist. I will graduate and earn my 4-year degree. I am tired at the moment, Chris. What is your I will? I am motivated to become a corrections officer. Shout out to Tegan. What are your goals? What are your aspirations? It could be short term, it could be long term. It's what we're experiencing in the moment. You could be tired right now and have a whole different energy tomorrow morning. I will push myself to become an art therapist. Shout out to Chris. I am tired, but I am motivated to become a successful addictions counselor. Shout out to Ray. Who you are and who you plan to become, because this is the rub, folks. Anything you put after I am, no one can tell you that you are not. I am who you are. I will. And I'm an author, so I am I will is an actual book, and I believe they have some copies, may have some extra copies in the office if you want to grab a copy of it, so you can use this framework to essentially achieve your goals. But who you are and who do you plan to become, folks? It's just that simple. Now, what I want to do for anyone who's willing, and you'll get something very unique if you do so. If anybody that's in the room is willing to share, or anybody on the Zoom is willing to share, we'll give you 2 rounds of applause. And you're not going to get 2 rounds of applause anywhere else, right? So you get pre-love and post-love, if you're willing to share. Anybody on the Zoom or anybody in the room. So do we have any brave souls in the room or on the Zoom who are willing to share and earn their first ever 2 rounds of applause? All right, we have somebody in the room. Can we give this person a round of applause, please? Pre-love. Okay, give it up for her, please. It's that simple, folks. Anybody else want to share that I am and there I will? Anyone in the room or anyone in the Zoom? Okay, the 100K lady, please give her a round of applause, please. Pre-love. Okay, give it up for her, please. I am, I will, folks. Again, this is you claiming your power, your identity in the moment, in everything or anything you plan to achieve. Any other brave souls in the room, on the Zoom, going once, going twice? Anyone have your hand? Did you have your hand up, or that was you were just stretching? Let's give us some free love. Let's give us some encouragement, y'all. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Free love, 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 love. Powerful.
And I will be motivation for the next
Awesome, awesome. Give it up for the future nurse. Sitting next to the future doctor. Doctor and a nurse. Awesome. All right, so let's wrap this. Message number 5. And I want y'all to create that cat. I don't know if y'all are friends or just have nothing next to each other. Y'all seem like y'all are really connected. Support each other throughout the journey. So no excuses, right? So oftentimes, when we're stuck in the past, it's drama and trauma that has been hard to overcome. Or if you're focused too much on the future, it causes anxiety and helps you, it forces you to get unsettled. So if you get locked into the present, you can be very intentional in terms of how you can rewire your brain to try to get past all of that drama and trauma, but also being very intentional so you have a better future. If you need help, clinical or otherwise, seek it, but we have to try to live in the present. Very important. Message number 4, again, are you going to live your dreams or watch somebody else live theirs? Unplug from the social media, plug into your career pathway. Very important. They created these devices with addictive properties to get us all stuck. Let's get ourselves unstuck. Number 3, and this goes back to choices. Very important. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond. Do you have emotional intelligence? Can you think strategically instead of reacting emotionally? Can you really focus on the things that matter? Very important as it relates to choice. Message number 2, I think Neighborhood Nick said it best, and Nipsey Hussle, if your circle of friends don't inspire you, they're not a circle, they are a cage. And then the final message is the I am and the I will. Who you are today, and who you plan to become tomorrow. Are there any questions? Any questions on the Zoom? Any questions in the room? Any questions on Zoom or any questions in the room? So I'll leave you with this. These are the 5 messages, right? No excuses. Again, if you really dial into these messages, you can get a copy of the book from the main office if you want to use the book. It's an action achievement guide, so you write out the identity in 17 different areas. You can pick the ones. Then the I will, you write down what you plan to achieve, and then you have to basically write time reference goals as it relates to how you plan to achieve those goals. So it makes it very plain for you as you move forward to become a doctor, a nurse, a success, whatever you plan to be. And I'll leave you with this. Every decision, every choice you make will either help, heal, or harm you. Very simple. So when you make these decisions, when you leave this room, today is a new beginning. Again, I don't know any other pages of your story, but today we create a new story, a new chapter where you're going to own the moment, be very intentional with your decisions, and ultimately achieve all of your personal and professional dreams. Thank you so much for your time.